The numbers told the story. They always do.
It's one of those idiots who believe in analytics.
This is a numbers game with Gill Alexander on VSiN.
Hour number 2 of a numbers game at VSiN, the sports betting network, VSiN.com, Game Plus, iHeartRadio, YouTube TV, and of course, Sirius XM channel 158. Gill Alexander. To my left, my little buddy Kelley Bydlon, losing weight like it's going out of style.
Yeah.
Like it's going, what is it, going out of business? Is that the expression?
Going out of business, yeah.
Or
going out of style. Both
either
works,
one. Either one. How are you doing? You losing more? Keeps going?
Yeah.
Oh, good for you.
It's getting tougher and tougher, but, trying to grind away.
Good for you. Jason Lisk from Team Rankings and Pool Genius going to be here a little later to talk strategery, bracket strategy and stuff, Survivor, that kind of thing. Going to find out what he likes playing best. What do you like playing best, Jason Lisk, of all these? Drew Dinsick standing by as well. We get tweets at Beating the Book. Liam Friend, thanks for having Joe Pita back. I remember the year Joe Pita was on a numbers game and correctly predicted every Major League Baseball playoff series, including the one-game wild cards. Yes, he had a sweep of a postseason. Muddy Caperletti, can you delay Will's sentence for saying at altitude until after the tourney? The people need him. Yes, I don't let people get away with that on the Megapod. Chance Copperpot, finally watched We Beat the Dream Team. It was phenomenal. I forget who suggested it on a numbers game, but thank you. That was Will who suggested it.
Yeah, it was Will.
You guys see the Last Week Tonight thing yet? No, apparently, what's my man's name on Last Week Tonight?
John Oliver.
Oliver.
I watched it yesterday. Thank you, Chance Copperpot, for pointing it out. I thought it was a pretty well done piece. I think it was.
Explain to folks what it is.
Just a vast, in-depth story, 30-minute long story, just on sports betting, how it's evolved in the United States, the challenges that both the companies and consumers are running into, and then most heavily addressed, I would say, is some of the addiction problems and practices and stuff by some of the sports books and companies. So
Last Week Tonight, one of the most exhaustively researched shows on television.
It's great. You and I were talking about it yesterday. It's one of those shows that, like, when it first started, I watched all the time, never missed an episode, and then now it's been on a while, and you just kind of forget when it's on. Off.
Well, it's a bit of a commitment. Like you can't. It's sort of you have to be engaged.
Yeah, in this specific, this was a 30-minute long piece they did on sports betting.
Last night, NBA, real quick, Warriors lose only their third game since Jimmy Butler has arrived, only their second game since he was actually in the lineup. They fall to 14-3 since the Jimmy Butler trade. They lose to the Nuggets, who didn't have Jokic, Jamal, or Brown in their lineup.
Just a great example. We've talked about this with Carl Sack yesterday, Gill. Terrible bet. Gets home.
Terrible bet.
Just happens. Terrible bet. We talked about that process of betting the Nuggets when all those guys were questionable.
Steph looks tired, by the way. He looks tired. And
Steve Kerr literally said that.
Yeah,
yes.
He looks tired.
Let's go Bucks.
Then the Rockets come back. Did you see the Rockets come back yesterday?
I was out at dinner. You texted me about it this morning. I didn't realize it was that crazy. I saw it went to overtime.
They were trailing the Sixers by 25 in the third quarter. They caught up by the end of the quarter. Then they fell back down double digits, back down 10 points, I think it was. They were down 8 in the last minute, tied it, never led once in regulation, won it in overtime.
Which is just shocking because the 76ers all season long have just been putting teams away once they get up on top of them, okay?
And then the other thing, I don't know, did you see this at the Knicks Heat game yesterday? Tracy Morgan had a medical emergency.
No, you told me that this morning. I saw it on Twitter. I don't know. That's kind of concerning.
Oh my God, these pictures of him, like mid-vomit. Yeah. Vomiting, nosebleed. Hope everything's okay with him. Drew Dinsick, who likes himself some NBA and some tennis, joins us right now, courtesy of the Progressive Guest Line. You can follow him on Twitter at @whale_capper, the host of both the Deep Dive and Bet the Edge podcast at NBC Sports, who now has another thing that we want to talk about as well. What are you doing every morning now, Drew?
We're doing the Deep Dive daily. Basically just shooting it with Andy for 15, 20 minutes in the morning. It's kind of a good opportunity. You mentioned, I like the NBA. The quality hasn't been great lately. Some of the experiences where, you bet the Timberwolves -4, they close -10.5, and then they can't stop Obi Toppin. It tests your patience with the association. And you know what's nice? it's nice having a little daily opportunity to vent about what when we are in the stupidest time of the year for one of the stupider seasons that I can remember for the association. It's nice to vent a little bit, and that was kind of a nice opportunity for me today.
What was it specifically last night that got your goat?
Well, the Warriors, similarly, like getting 6.5 points of CLV and not feeling good about it as the game tips, and then immediately just being like annoyed by everything that you're seeing is pretty tough. And that happened to me twice yesterday. And also, betting on a team when you don't really like them that much and you're disappointed with their effort recently, and they give you a good first half effort like the Miami Heat do, and then they come out for the third quarter and they don't play. And they lose 41-15. Those types of swings are brutal.
Let me interrupt for 1 second. Do we have that Miami Heat stat from the fourth quarter?
Just from what I can remember, Tim Bond kept saying on the Hoop Collective the other day, and it's their net rating. Like, I'll pull it up. And Drew, have you seen this at all? Their fourth quarter net rating, and it's like minus 28 or some absurd number for what they're doing in the fourth quarter. It's wild. So I know there's been a lot of people betting them like first half, doing the whole one team first half, the other team full game.
Like the White Sox bet.
Yeah, and it's been working out. Yeah.
If this was blind resume season and you put up a blind resume of the Heat with their fourth quarter numbers, you know what I would say? They're magnificent job tanking. What in the world is going on? Like, you almost have to try to be playing this poorly late in games as they are. It's absolutely wild. And the Heat they're tacking hard for the 9-10 play-in. And out of the playoff mix entirely, which, okay, good luck. The rest of the NBA is wild too, because with the closing lines yesterday, especially in the West, you're like, okay, well, like, here we go. Like, seeds 2 through 7 in the West, as of yesterday, before the game started, we're only separated by about 1.5 games, which is unbelievable. Like, it makes pricing futures virtually impossible because everybody in the West has like specific matchup problems with some opponents, right? Like, if the Nuggets draw the Timberwolves, like, look out, like, Nuggets are in trouble. If the Nuggets draw the Warriors, they're probably fine. If the Nuggets draw the Lakers, they're probably fine. If the Lakers draw, the Warriors, they're probably fine, right? Like, if the Lakers draw the Grizzlies, they might be fine, right? Like, there's a bunch of like specific head-to-heads where you're feeling relative high confidence based on just sort of matchup particularities. And we have no idea how this is going to shake out right now. Like, I'm holding an uncomfortably large bet on the Oklahoma City Thunder to win the West. And like, you wake up one day and you're like, oh man, like, their half of the draw could be Grizzlies, Rockets, Kings. Like, yes, like, heck yes. Like, 2, 3, 6, and 7 could be all the teams I don't really want to play. Like, you're only gonna have to play one of those. Like, that's awesome. And then you wake up the next day and you're like, oh, great. Like, we're gonna get the Warriors in the 1-8. Like, oh, come on. Like, this can't be happening. And then so like, there's a path where they go Warriors in the 8th seed. Timberwolves in the 4, the winner of the 4-5, and then Nuggets as the winner of the 2 seed, and like that prices out still as slight edge for me over current West. That's like the worst possible, and that's a slight edge for me over the West futures price right now. But then the other world where they play Kings, Grizzlies, Lakers or something like that, like that's they should be like minus 300.
What are the potential, and this, I'll say for the whole NBA, but it feels like it's more of a Western Conference question, sort of based on what you just said. What are the series matchups that you would anticipate, that you would look most forward to as being completely mispriced by the market, where you were like, this is so I can exploit the heck out of this?
Timberwolves, Lakers would be a great one.
Because the market will love the Lakers, but you won't.
Yeah. If the Lakers Timberwolves is 4-5, I'm going to be pretty stoked, especially if the Timberwolves are the 4. I don't know if that's very likely, but that would be pretty cool. The one I'm least looking forward to is easier. Grizzlies Lakers. I do not want to see this series again. No way, no how. My numbers are going to say bet the Grizzlies, even as unimpressive as they've been in the absence of JJJ. It's still, the Grizzlies are a more complete, better team than the Lakers, but the Lakers are going to be favored in that series, I would guess. And probably going to have to go to war with the Grizzlies and feel very uncomfortable about it as Ja Morant goes flying up to the rim in game one and breaks his wrist again. But the Warriors Nuggets is a fun one because kind of based on last night when it was expected at least that Jokic was going to play. The market price was basically telling you that the Warriors might be pretty compellingly priced similarly to the Nuggets in that series. And I don't know, man, like the Warriors do not have an answer for a lot of what the Nuggets like to do. And I don't know how many more matchups we need to see between those two teams to kind of just say, well, this is just, they don't have it. Like they don't have it solved. So I think that's an interesting one where I would probably lean favorite Nuggets if they draw the Warriors in the 3-6.
I'm going to give you my most concerning Western Conference situations, as I heavily staked on the Thunder with you, Drew, so we'll be riding that. I'm terrified of the Thunder seeing Luka Doncic just at any point because they're still lingering lingering stuff from last year with that. And then I'm really looking forward to Jimmy Butler costing me a lot of money again. This postseason. It will happen.
I'm just keeping my mouth shut about that.
Yeah, it'll probably happen, Gill, because I think I'm aligned with Drew on most of those matchups.
Yeah, we need Nuggets to take care of the Warriors in the 3-6. To take care of Luka in the 2-3, and then the Thunder have the Nuggets dead to rights.
If Jimmy Butler does this to you specifically, but a lot of NBA hardos again, I will have much to say again. Oh, man. Because that'll play into my theory that you're too close to the sun watching the entire regular season. Yeah. More with Drew. Let's see if he's got some Miami Open thoughts and beyond. See about college basketball next.
A numbers game on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
We mentioned this at the top of the show. It bears repeating again. Our March Mania betting guide is out. March Mania betting guide. Adam Burke deserving most of the kudos, but so many working on this. Profiles of every NCAA tournament team, trends for every round, strategies for brackets and futures. Comprehensive guide packed with team profiles for every squad in the field. Every one of them. Key trends, expert strategies for building your brackets, betting futures, and of course, best bets from VSiN's top analysts. Start your VSiN Pro subscription today for just $9.99. Get instant access to the guide, plus daily best bets, 24/7 video, and our exclusive betting splits throughout the tournament. Sign up today, VSiN.com/subscribe. That's VSIN.com/subscribe. Everybody's Final Four picks in there. You got your Final Four in there?
I do. I'm noticing Cooper Flagg is sweating quite a lot in this graphic.
It's really not nice of him to sweat that much all over the other players there. Check it out, though. Only $9.99 for your first 30 days, and you get the guide. Who wouldn't do that? Drew Dinsick joins us once again. From the Progressive Guest line. Again, Whale_Capper. Deep Dive Podcast. Deep Dive Daily with Andy Molitor. I got to add that to the mix. And, of course, Bet the Edge with Jay Croucher as well. This, by the way, this was the Miami Heat thing that we were talking about. This is their net rating.
Last 15 games, yeah.
Last 15 games net rating. Is that good? Oh, my God, is that bad?
Not great, Bob.
Heat, minus 27.6 net rating. They're in the Brooklyn Nets sphere of the world.
Yeah, that is. It's always interesting to pull up stuff like this.
What about the Celtics? That's kind of
so you get Nets actual tanking. I'm just going to assume that's Celtics just blowing out teams, so it doesn't really matter in the fourth quarter as much, right?
Yeah. It's interesting. We get tweets, by the way. I just want to read it.
15 games. Be careful, people. Don't go crazy. Like, I know we had that White Sox one last summer that was great, but the 5-inning full game thing with the White Sox was unbelievable. I would love to hear. This is Duck fan for life. I would love to hear Gill's and Drew's thoughts on whether they think Mira Andreeva is for real. Oh, is she ever? She's coming for the throne for real. She wins at Indian Wells. She has the same 4 victories down the stretch, meaning round of 16, quarterfinals, semifinals, finals, as did Madison Keys at the Australian Open, which is to say Rybakina in the round of 16, Svitolina in the quarters, Iga in the semis, and then Sabalenka in the finals. Drew and I were talking about Andreeva a couple years ago, weren't we, Drew, on the Megapod? No, we don't.
Man, she could be world number one someday. turns out someday is maybe this week or this year. Like, what? Holy smokes. Is she for real? Absolutely. You're referencing her run and the parallels to the Madison Keys beyond just being really kind of weird. I would say that her actual performance was more impressive than Keys. I mean, the Keys, obviously, that comes on a grand slam stage. So there is that. But her utter destruction of Rybakina was eye-opening. Svitolina was a warm-up for the Iga test. The surface favored Iga more so than Melbourne. Like this, she was absolutely in, Iga's kind of sweet spot as far as a hard courts, court speed. And then Sabalenka was much more in form in this tournament than what we've seen from her so far this year. And so the fact that she got particularly those last 2 wins, was absolutely incredible. And if you watch much of the Sabalenka match, or the Iga match for that matter, the shot making was like absurd. She is doing this forehand slice that is absolutely diabolical. It is kind of the perfect weapon for players like Sabalenka in terms of making them uncomfortable with moving around the court. And, the fact that she could go toe to toe in rallies with Iga and find ways to get clean winners, or her backhand was magnificent. It is absolutely awesome when this sort of thing happens. And, it's rare, but it just happened with Alcaraz, and then to a lesser extent with Sinner, where, when you have a breakout like this, we don't know what the ceiling is for her. This time next year, she could be the clear number 1 in the world with margin, because she's not even 18. She's getting better at this. It's like she's learning more. She adding more tools to her tool chest, and she's well coached. She seems to be coachable. I think she's also still growing. Like, she's huge now. Like, she continues to get even bigger, which is a problem for everybody else on tour. I mean, I think if you don't have her kind of current, form rated in or around the top of the women's tour, then you've made a huge mistake. I'm kind of surprised that she's this price for Miami, but going back to back would be pretty amazing. And she's going to have another tough test here.
It's fascinating to watch, and she's playing loose, and that's the reminder, right? The reminder is on the come up. You're not in your head. You're not being chased. And it reminds you of the Iga rise, where it's like, oh, you play free, you're not thinking about anything. So we'll see what the ceiling is, if a ceiling could even be seen in the next several years with her.
Exactly, and I think the prices that existed for her to win the 3 remaining slams this year before she won Indian Wells have been absolutely annihilated. They're slashed correctly. There's a world we wake up in July and we're like, we've previewed women's Wimbledon. We've talked about Mira Andreeva's played like 7 matches in her life on grass, and then we see her perform like 2 rounds at Wimbledon. We're like, oh, actually, she's the best women's grass player now. Surprise! Like that's the way these things happen, and that's the way they go. And you have to kind of prey on those sort of tail outcomes that she continues to improve and get better. And just again, from what I can tell, and just her style of play and her kind of youth and just just general physicality, like it doesn't look to me like she's going to bear the cost of like fatigue, which does generally cause a lot of younger players to kind of underwhelm when you get later in the season after they're kind of going through the first year full grind, playing 20 tournaments. You
didn't bet her in Miami though. She's in a ridiculously tough quarter.
Yeah, the whole women's draw in Miami is tough, and the vibe you get is because so many of those the end of Indian Wells is compressed in terms of like the high leverage tennis, which usually means that like getting back up for another high leverage tournament is very, very difficult, and I would be surprised if this doesn't feel like mega chalk out at the top, right? This feels like something like Pegula comes through at a monster price, or Zheng Xinwen comes through at a monster price. Those at right now at 28-1 for Pegula and 35-1 for Zheng. That would be where I would be looking.
I went Osaka 66-1. A lot of ifs
That's
there.
That's another good one.
Yeah.
No, she's much fresher than a number of these women if she can. And honestly, like, she's always played better in Miami than at any of the other thousands.
I have to end the tennis by saying, and if Iga wins the French, she'll have 6 majors, and Serena will have 7 at that same time, because Iga still has the best numbers, not only on clay but on hards. So everybody relax.
I get
still
Andreeva. Andreeva's your second choice, though, pretty clearly.
Yeah, no, that's true. That's true. Okay, college hoops. Do you do any brackets or Survivor or Calcutta or anything?
Yeah, all of the above, man.
All of the above.
You tapped me into one of the most fun Survivor pools
That's
on
right.
earth for, and we won't give away the ghost here, but yeah, the Survivor is super fun. Definitely bracket pools with friends and family on top of, some higher stakes one. I'm out on Calcuttas this year. Last year was such a negative experience for me. I just need a year off to rethink my strategy there. And I would say, though, just broadly, like the tournament kind of lacking a little juice for me this year. I don't know.
Why do you say that?
Because, like, Duke's just going to win.
Duke's, because Drew went. I forgot who I was talking to. Yeah,
Has to rep the Duke athletics.
There's not really there's no drama, guys.
For like
right?
a second and a half, I was like, why is he so sure?
You know what my first thought was like, oh, Cooper Flag, NBA guy, but no, Duke. I forgot about Duke legendary swimmer Drew Dinsick.
Legendary swimmer Drew Dinsick at Duke University.
You don't want to see him in the 400-meter fly.
No, you don't.
400-meter fly. I would be in deep trouble. Butterfly was not my strength, but that's okay.
Let's try to guess.
Okay, just took a shot at it. What is the most fun for you? Survivor, though, it's got to be, right?
Definitely, yeah. That's because there's the most game theory involved, right? And I mean, like if I'm curious to hear what your future guests have to say about game theory for brackets this year in particular. But like, it does feel extremely chalky this year. I feel like if you're winning a bracket pool, you either have to be the rightest on a chalky year, or you have to be sort of kind of nail some of the contrarian stuff because. The way it's very balanced this year, there's not a lot of obvious sort of game theory ways to take advantage of the way they put together this bracket this year. So, Survivor is much more, kind of game theory applicable this year.
A lot of the mega with Todd yesterday and Will was Todd complaining about all the teams that he likes end up playing the teams that he likes in the first round. So makes it a little more complicated. Drew, thank you as always, man. Appreciate it.
Best of luck. Have fun this week, guys.
Drew Dinsick with the Deep Dive Daily every day with Andy Molitor at whale_capper. Jason Lisk from Team Rankings Bracket Strategy next.
A numbers game on VSiN, the sports betting network.
Eliminate all the fake handicappers who pitching fake records. Juice Reel's bringing transparency to the picks marketplace. All Juice Reel betting accounts are synced with the betting history directly from the sportsbook, so no hiding those bad records. Juice Reel ranks every bettor based on their actual betting record. Sharp bettors can even get paid when others follow their picks. Check it out for yourself. Download the Juice Reel app. Use promo code Let's Go and receive $25 in free app currency that you can use to check out what the best handicappers on Juice Reel are betting. It's free in the App Store. Juice Reel. That's JUICEREEL. Download Juice Reel today. Skill Alexander, Kelley Bydlon alongside. Let's talk some bracket strategy. It's our old friend Jason Lisk joining us from both Team Rankings. He's the content analysis. He does content analysis for Team Rankings. Also works over there at Pool Genius. You can follow him on Twitter at Jason Lisk. That's Lisk. Joins us now courtesy of the Progressive Guest Line. Good morning to you, Jason. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Excited. We get NIT action and play in action tonight. So basketball's back after a 1-day hiatus.
Do you bet the NIT voraciously?
I actually not vociferously, but I did actually sit up and handicap it last night because I just can't help it. And so I did
can't help
put
it.
a few recommendations out.
Okay. Care to share one of those with us by any chance? Do you know one?
Yeah. Loyola Chicago's been a team I was backing through the A10. They were covering much better with their current lineup. I'm looking for teams that play their rotations are vastly different than early of the year. and there's value on the current rotation because people price these on the full season numbers. So Loyola is one. Now, obviously, they're traveling to San Jose State, and so that's a longer trip. But I think even with building a large home court advantage, there's this Loyola team's closer to a 12 or 13 seed quality. Could have been, they almost beat VCU if they could have hit any layups. And I think they're a solid value in that tournament.
There you go. Bonus NIT pick from Jason as well. All right, so sort this out for us. Team Rankings Pool Genius. By the way, Team Rankings wrote a post in the our college basketball betting guide, which is out now. So we're pumped about that. But tell us what Team Rankings is known for this time of year and what Pool Genius is known for.
Yeah, so our site Pool Genius is where we host all our pool subscriptions, and that includes bracket picks. That includes survivor picks for March Madness. We have subscription packages for all those things, and VSiN listeners can get discounts on those by going to poolgenius.com/VSiN and checking it out. But yeah, we have Calcutta. I know a lot of Calcutta auctions have already taken place, but we have tools related to that. Bracket picks, women's brackets this year. If you dabble in that, we've got all sorts of tools.
Nice. Okay, so again, for the Pool Genius, not to enter, this is to get advice on your brackets and your survivor picks and Calcutta as well. What do you personally like to play most? Brackets, upset, rewarded brackets, survivor? What's your favorite thing?
Some of my favorite things are like the Pick X, where you like seed-based contests where you get points for like the seed number, because they lead to some really wild like strategies. Like, because if you get a bunch of points for every time an 8 seed wins or an 11 seed wins, those are high variance events right away. Like they may not be favored, but if you hit them, that's who wins those pools. And so the year, like I had Loyola Chicago back in 19 or 18 and won a pool because I had Loyola Chicago to the Final Four and I got so many points. So I love those kind of pools because their strategy, like you don't want to block your picks. You want to have, like, you want to play upside. So those are some of my favorite. Survivor pools are like great for like, if you love to play against the high leverage events, pick upsets in the Sweet 16 Elite 8 where half the crowd's on the other side and the pool gets wiped out. Survivor pools are a fun thing to do for that.
Let's start with the more standard pools. Well, let's put a bookmark in Survivor because I want to get to that. But let's start with the more standard pools. So yesterday I was on the show and I'm curious if there's a more macro thing than this. For the standard, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 or 2, 4, 8, 16. In other words, you get more points as you advance, not an upset rewarded pool. The smaller the pool, the more conservative, the larger the pool, the more sort of frisky you should get. Yes?
Yes, generally speaking, that's right. Generally speaking, the smaller the pool, the more conservative. Obviously, you want to know the crowd you're playing with. If you've played in the pool before, you want to know how they pick and think about that, and how they might play it. But yeah, generally speaking, smaller the pool, and not just pool size, by the way. We think of effective pool size or pot, kind of your odds of getting a prize, right? Because you may be in a pool that has a flat payout structure, so you might want to play it more conservatively to place in the money and not go all out on a risky champ pick, even if it's 100 people, 200 people. So think about not only pool size, but prize structure. And then I would say generally, yes, there are some exceptions. Like if you can catch a team that you pick to the final against this is just a strategy point. If you take like a team like Duke or Florida and you compare them in certain size pools with a team you think might not even be picked as a champion because the pool's not large enough, let's say 20, 30 people, and you don't think 5-10% are going to pick that team to win the championship, then just having them in the final gives you leverage and you almost get like 2 champ picks. Because if they reach the final, nobody has them going further. And so that's another strategy that does come up. But generally speaking, you want to be conservative.
Is there an optimal percentage? Let's say there's 100 people in a pool. Is there an optimal percentage of entries you should have that's like the strike point that you think is the best?
I mean, you want to have any entry keeps you live. I would not probably play above 3 to 5% of the total pool size because I want most of the money to not be mine, if that makes sense. You want to have everybody kicking in. And so a 3 to 5 in small pools, I mean, larger, obviously you're not going to even go get there because it's probably so many entries that it would be cost prohibitive, or just wouldn't have time to go through them all. But yeah, I would limit it to 3 to 5% on a pool under 100 entries. I wouldn't want to have more than, say, 1 entry in a 20 entry pool.
And then upset rewarded pools, which you described again. If you pick a 13 over a 4, you get the extra 9 points. If you pick a 12 over a 5, 12 minus 5, you get the extra 7. You should be, if you're in those, first of all, you should know that rule. That's the very first thing you should know. But you should be going pretty crazy betting or picking these, right? Because being wrong isn't what you should care about, right? You should expect to be wrong about a bunch.
Yeah. You're not. Your goal is not to maximize how many wins you get; it's to how many points you get. And so you got to think of it that way. Now, a lot of times we'll see in those kind of pools you're talking about, you still want to have a champ pick that is highly likely to happen, right? You want to have, say, your champ and your final be teams that give you the best chance of getting 32 points or whatever. But then in the early rounds, you're knocking out the teams that you aren't picking as the champion more. You're taking those 12s and 11s on a deep run in a bracket where you don't have that high seed going far anyway. And so that's how you should think about it is, get your champ picks. You still need to get those points probably to win that pool, but you need to then rack up points on big upsets. Runs.
Was there anything, Jason, about the way that this particular bracket shook out on Selection Sunday that has led to a specific thought or strategy?
I think, generally speaking, the 1 seeds are really strong, and so I'm hesitant until I get to large pool sides to take deep runs by anybody else. You're probably thinking more conservative, but there are some things you can mix in. I'm watching the situations like Alabama. I'm watching situations like Iowa State, because those are teams you could take to the Elite Eight, but do you? Because those may matter. And if it is chalky this year, then you're probably going to have to hit some of those Elite Eight picks too to win. And so, keep an eye on those. That's what I'm thinking is, I'm not concerned about the upset picks. Or the long shot picks to beat me. I'm concerned about the teams whether I have an Alabama or not and get that right.
Yeah, referring to Keyshawn Gilbert's injury with Iowa State and Grant Nelson's with Alabama. To Survivor real quick here. I love Survivor more than anything. I've described it. It's multidimensional. You can lose at the front end by just getting knocked out. You can lose at the back end by not having teams left. I like to make this point about Survivor that I think doesn't get said enough, which is the schedule, right? Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. When it goes to the next week, isn't it true that most Survivor players make the mistake of, the Thursdays and the Saturdays must play on the Thursdays and Saturdays Sweet 16 week? And you've got to be aware of that.
Absolutely. I'm going to lay that out for our subscribers in an article by tonight where I lay out the schedule grid. But yeah, you got to not only think about risk now, you got to think about combos. Because if you show up to a Sweet 16 or a region and you've used both teams that match up in the Sweet 16, you're pretty much done, right? Because you can't pick either of those teams there or in the Elite Eight. And so you're kind of screwed. So your ideal is to have either the teams you pick in the first round lose right away, or only one still alive in a region when you show up to the Sweet 16. And so you got to think about it that way.
Jason, I really appreciate it. Give us the Pool Genius discount URL again, if you would.
Yeah. PoolGenius.com/Visa for discounts. Check it out. And again, bracket picks, Survivor picks, all that stuff. Check us out. Lots of content going up today.
See, if you want to game the game, if you're in a pool, Jason will hook you up. All the Pool Genius people will help you along. Thank you so much, Jason. Always great to see you, man.
Yep. Thanks so much for having me on.
Jason Lisk, everybody, from Team Rankings and Pool Genius. Follow him on Twitter at Jason Lisk, Lisk. Kelley and I on the other side are wrapping things up on a numbers game at VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
A numbers game on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Back on a numbers game live from Circa Resort Casino, downtown Las Vegas. Majestic downtown Las Vegas. Gill Alexander, Kelley Bydlon. Sharp week. See the shark bites and everything?
That's right.
The sharp bites. We get tweets at Beat of the Book. Can I go through those first? Is that allowed?
The show.
A little audible. First of all, did you and Dave Ross have some kind of a climate control argument in here? What are these tweets I'm seeing from Tronsky?
Dave always likes to sit in like 64 degrees in here, and it's I love Dave. It's nothing contentious or anything, but I like giving him crap about why is he sitting in an ice box for 3 hours.
Remember
He's also got a jacket on though. We come in, we're not wearing jackets.
at South Point, they used to try to smoke us out of there. Was it so humid sometimes?
There was that. Then the literal smoke. Remember we'd get they'd like overcook the burgers and what was that? What was the burger place called? Wow, I'm blanking on it. No, we're taking out Del Mar Deli. It was the burger place that was right behind the studio.
Shake Shack.
No, it wasn't even Shake Shack.
Oh, I don't know what you're talking about.
Steak and Shake.
Oh, Steak and Shake. That's right, Steak and Shake. Brian Ortega, unsolicited in your ear.
Chiming right here with multiple wrong answers.
Jeff Cam on Twitter. Looking forward to the Megapod as I do spring cleaning later. Kelley, I missed the name of the show that you were talking about sports betting. Could you mention once more, please?
Last week tonight.
Last week
John
tonight
Oliver.
on HBO on Max with John Oliver. Jordan Pagel. Did Will mention if he bet San Diego to make the Final Four? Talking about UCSD. Found an 80-1 at a faraway place. Well, he should. If that's what his conviction is, he should as well. He did not mention, though, specifically that he did. This is from,
he said he was going to, though.
Tom F, T for 3. He had tweeted a while back, I think it was a couple weeks ago about, or not even a couple weeks, 1 week ago about Mira Andreeva's slam futures, 22-1 to win the U.S. Open. He grabbed it. That is not out there anymore. He said, this is aging well. Now I just wish I took her at Wimbledon, too. Listen, she's great. She's 17 years old. We've been talking about her on the podcast for at least a year, maybe 2. Remember, JVT bet Erica Andreeva that morning? I was like, that's not even the good sister.
Wait, how old's Erica?
Erica's old. Erica is older than Andreeva.
But she has to be, right?
Yeah, Erica's older. But Erica is, I mean, she's good. She's just not Mira good.
I mean, if there was like multiple teenagers from the same family doing things on tour, that'd be pretty damn impressive.
Erica's 20. She's 20. Mira's 17. But again, right, like, she's great. But we'll see. Because there's a ceiling, right? She's on the way up. And it's, Iga was saying, she's like, man, it's so great. She was better in the clutch points. She plays loose. She longs to be back there because she's always in her head messing up in the clutch. But, we'll see. We'll see what happens here moving forward.
I'm going to take that as Gill's not as high.
No, I am every bit as high. She's outstanding. But I'm secretly smiling at everybody out there who's taking shots at the real queen. And I'm like, okay, if Iga wins the French, she's got 6 slams. I'm like, what are y'all talking about? That's all I'm going to say. Joe Pita, thank you. He says, the memories of the perfect bracket in 2016, responding to the earlier tweet. He says, I should have walked away from the game like Jim Brown after that World Series. Jesse Welch, since Adam Burke and the betting guide are getting so much love, let's add on the fact that Berkey put out the MLB guide and March Madness guides back to back. Oh, yeah, well, I mentioned that about the MLB guide, that was his true amazing calling, but this is as good. Brandon Priest started about that. He says, talking contest, my favorite by far, 20 people in a pool, all 1 to 15 seeds dropped into a hat, and each person pulls 3 teams out of a hat. If you're holding a team that wins it all, you win half the pot. Other half of the pot goes to the person who accumulates the most points. So that's a simple one. Everybody's got an angle on this. New York Mess 16. Pool Genius is a great tool. I used it for the NFL season where I have weekly and season payouts. They customize to both, and you decide the route you want to take. I had my best season yet and won weekly 3 times. So there's a shout out to Jason.
Nice, that's
Lisk.
awesome. Yeah.
Let's see. Oh, James Sott's coming by to visit us after the show. He said he had to listen to Drew before he left the house to go visit.
All right, cool.
One of our
Pool Genius is awesome. This is always one of those, like, I'm sure you have specific websites you go to for like small tools, right? And I always feel bad where I'm like team rankings, they do so much on that site. Such a great website. But I always go there for one specific thing, Gill, and it's always to check out. I think they do the best job laying out kind of the ATS records and then the ATS plus minus, how much you're exceeding the spread by or so.
Mm-hmm.
When we talk NFL, NBA, it's always like it is bookmarked on my computer.
It's so funny. There's sites that we all do that for like one specific matter.
Right,
remember when we had, who was it that we had on from Our Lads? Do you remember that?
Yeah.
And I said to him, I go, can you guess what it is that I use your website for? And he goes, before I could even finish the sentence, he goes, oh, you do it for my depth charts. I'm like, exactly.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Every time I go to Our Lads for depth charts.
Good call. This is the same exact thing. I'm like, should I bring this up to Jason? I don't know if I should bring this up or not, because there's a lot more on their website than just that.
Paper Mike points this out too. He goes, I remember this one. I kept live betting Mira versus her sister Erica, and I got my bankroll cleaned out. She got smoked by her sister. It's always a weird Venus Serena thing happening too back in the day. Time for our G-Bank Best Bets of the Day, courtesy and brought to you by G-Bank, the official bank of Visa. And I will start with mine. In Miami, the second half of the Sunshine Double, which Ego won both halves of 2 years ago. Olga Danilovich versus Haley Baptiste is my first play. That's a little later. And then I think happening right after the show, Jessica Buzas-Monero, plus 119 versus Lucia Bronzetti. Again, all picks from all hosts and guests in every sport at VSiN.com/picks for Survivor. I put mine out the night before. And I also took Naomi Osaka, my only futures in Miami. She's in a really easy quarter. It's the Coco Golf quarter, and Coco's not playing well. But Osaka's hardcourt numbers are spectacular, and if things break her way, meaning that she's going to play up to her talent level and not be hampered by injury, and that Indian Wells was just a weird hiccup, which I think we're all finding out, 66-1 to win it, but more importantly, also 7-1 to win the quarter.
Fair to say you're semi-fading Coco Gauff here?
I am semi-fading
for the past
Coco
few
Gauff.
months?
Yes, for sure. And that's worked out fine. That's the one thing that's worked out fine. By the way, I did take Iga to win her quarter, but I know mathematically it's not the correct thing to do, but I did take her at minus 110. 3 college basketball plays that I've made for March Madness. UC San Diego plus the 3 against Michigan. I don't really love that play, to be honest with you. Grand Canyon, I did take the 11 versus Maryland when that first came out. And Georgia plus 6 versus the Zags of Gonzaga. I got to come up with 17 more totals or sides for the VSiN Bracket Challenge.
That means I got to come up with 20. NBA for me, Bucks tonight. I bet this, yes, while the Warriors were playing last night. Afterwards, Steve Kerr said Steph Curry looks really, really tired. So that number has swung the other way. I think it's Bucks -3, -4 right now, I believe is where it's at. So unplayable, sorry. Cavs -3.5. That's out to like 4.5. Would still play that one.
Meaning Steph won't play is what you're saying.
Yeah. I mean, that's what they were hinting. That's what Kerr was hinting at last night, at least.
Joe Pita came back on the show today. Always great to see Joe. He added a few NL season wins. Diamondbacks. He says he loves this more than any of his. Mm-hmm. Diamondbacks over 86.5 wins in the NL West. And then the Mets over 90 wins and the Phillies under 90 wins. He is a lifelong Phillies fan, so it has a little extra meaning when he says begrudgingly, Mets over 90, Phillies under 90. If the Mets could win 10 of those in the first 10 games, that would be wonderful for some of us. Will Hill, UC San Diego to the Final Four at 70-1. Tritons, we shall see. He's also got San Diego State plus the points against, here in the first 4 game. Then he's got Grand Canyon as well, plus the 10.5 versus Maryland. Oklahoma catching 4.5, and then in the Mount St. Mary's American play-in game, the first 4 in DC game, first half under 60.5. I say a DC game because both schools are American actually in DC. Mount St. Mary's not really close, but also a Mid-Atlantic school. Under 60.5 in the first half of the Mount St. Mary's American game. By the way, Steve Fezzik loves first half unders in the first 4 games, the play-ins.
Okay.
Jason Lisk. Squeezed an NIT pick out of him. Mm-hmm. Loyola Chicago laying the 1.5 as well. Best Bets always brought to you by G-Bank, the official bank of VSiN. Each show, every host, every guest, every sport, recapped right here on the network at the end of every show. Everybody's at the end, correct? Is that correct? Of course they do it at the end. They don't do it like halfway through. That would be dumb. G-Bank upping the ante with up to a $750 bonus for new G-Bank Visa Signature Card customers. First new customers who spend $1,000 on eligible purchases within 90 days from account opening receive a $250 bonus. In addition, if you spend $50,000 on gaming and sports app loads within 30 days of account opening, you'll receive another $500 bonus. That's potentially a $750 bonus. Apply now at VSiN.com/Gbank. That's VSiN.com/Gbank. Subject credit approval. Terms and conditions apply. By the way, with baseball having gotten underway this morning with the Dodgers 4-1 win over the Cubbies in Tokyo. They play game 2 tonight. Just a reminder that our baseball bets, the 3 season longs that I've given out, not the 3 season longs, but the 3 futures bets. Cleveland Guardians under 82.5 wins. March, April, most wins, Minnesota Twins at 15-1. And the race, in case you missed this at the end of last week, the race to 10 regular season wins, even shorter than the most wins March, April. The race to 10, the New York Metropolitan 17-1. So ideally, the Cubs will win tonight and beat the Dodgers so that neither team, and specifically the Dodgers in this case, will get to 2 wins in Tokyo.
Sounds like a plan.
Stormy Monotone, Matt Brown, Money Moves next right here at VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Enjoy.